think in a lot of ways I didn't realize it at the time, but this record is very much about where my life was at right then and rediscovering my love of music. I mean, it starts in a very micro way, this very specific story of walking through the hills and the woods, the life and death of an animal, you know, and then it expands out to being about my life and romance, my relationship, and just life and death in general for people. That's The Tall Grass is a song that starts really small and gets really big. And then I think, you know, like music has been the most important thing in my life, my whole life, from the beginning when I was younger, where it's all my joy and my comfort, my solace, you know, like my obsession, to when I become a songwriter and I'm making music, you know. And I think that those two songs, Bobby and the Rat Kings and Elevator Boots, are very much about those two perspectives. Bobby looks at it from, like you said, the perspective of a fan, someone who loves music, for whom music provided the soundtrack to their life and the touchstone to all their memories. And Elevator Boots is about a guy in a band and looking at how everything in his life is very temporary. Cities, towns, people, women come in and fade away, but the gig is always there. There's always a show tomorrow night. Everything is so temporary, but not the music. The music is always there for him. And I think that's kind of what the scope of the suite is, although I didn't think about it at the time and I didn't notice it at the time. But I think it's really about me opening back up to the idea of how important music is for me, as a way of expressing myself, as a way of expressing how I'm feeling about things. You know, Angel of 14th Street in a lot of ways looks at my journey from California to New York, but it also looks at this girl who's come to New York and is dealing with like what a lot of women in our society deal with, which is like the abusive nature of men and the callous, sort of uncaring way that our whole world looks at women. And at that time, even as much as like you look at your government, the people that are like the president of our country, and the way it must have felt to be a woman while he's president, and what that must say about a country that doesn't care if a guy's like that. You know, I mean, I think that the vulnerability and learning to sort of like accept the stuff that scarred you in your life, which is what a lot of my songs are about, how childhood scars you. You know,
Well,
the girl.
sorry to interrupt, but I wrote a line from that, from The Tall Grass. There are some of us get broken when we're a child, and you never get it back once it's gone.
I mean, I think that's what a lot of my songs are about, like how we live with all the ghosts that we create in our childhood. You know, like Ghost Train is about the train of ghosts that rides behind you that are your memories. Like, how do we live with all the ways our childhood scars us and makes us who we are? And it's always going to be there behind you, but you can't spend your life living back there in that train because it's in front of you. You know, and this is a girl who's carrying a lot of scars, a woman in Angel 14th who's carrying a lot of scars, and she's trying to find a way and questioning how she comes to live the rest of her life looking forward. You know, and it's questionable as to whether she can, because sometimes those scars they feel like you'll never get past them. I think we do get past them. But yeah, the feeling in that song, and in some ways in Angel of 14th Street, is that you can't ever get past them. But you know, look, I believe that we can. But I also believe very deeply that it feels a lot of the time like we can't. Like the scars and the ghosts of our childhood are going to be with us and define us for our whole lives. And they do in a lot of ways. You know, and I think that's, you know, one of the ways the things that went on in my life defined me in the last few years is I got really burnt out on, like, they made me very vulnerable to discomfort when I'm sharing with the whole world. And it made me not want to do that for a few years. That's okay. You know, I'm okay. Truthfully, one of the reasons I was okay doing it, like not being addicted to music for so long, is because I was in a really good relationship. And it was okay to not have my whole life be consumed with music. I spent some years learning how to live with another person because I'd never done it successfully. You know, I spent some years learning what it is to be an adult who lives with another adult. And then, so it made it okay to be not a musician for a little bit. And then it also made it okay to be one again. You know, I feel okay, like I'm here right now and I feel perfectly comfortable doing all this.